Hello everyone, myself Dr. Rahul Deshpande. I am a consultant nephrologist having experience of more than 10 years. I am currently practicing from Andheri to Bandra at various hospitals starting from Criticare East, West, Sujay Hospital to SL Raheja Hospital, Mahim and various multiple hospitals in between. So today our topic of discussion is edema. So what is edema? So in simple language, edema can be called as a swelling. So every person has around 60% of water in his body weight. That means if a 50 kg person is there, so 30 kg of his weight is because of water. So if this water content increases significantly because of any illnesses that we will be discussing afterwards, so it results in a accumulation of water in a subcutaneous tissue that is beneath your skin, resulting in a swelling or what we call as a edema. So this is the definition of edema. So now what are the causes? What are the different causes of edema? So there are multiple systems involved in causation of edema. Like the most important that we will be discussing first. So it is the kidney. So kidney can cause edema or swelling by two mechanisms. If the kidney function goes down, that is if the creatinine levels increases, then there is accumulation of excess of water in the body leading to edema. And by other mechanism, what we call as a nephrotic syndrome. Here the filters of kidneys are at stake, they are damaged because of multiple reasons. So in this, because of continuous loss of protein in the urine, the body protein amount is reduced, which again causes the swelling or the edema. So these are the two basic causes of edema because of kidney. The other is heart. Even a heart failure because of multiple reasons like previous heart attacks, what we call as a, or previous stenting, bypasses or multiple heart insults can result in a reduced heart pumping or a reduced cardiac function, or in our language we use the term reduced ejection fraction. In that scenario also this water accumulates in the body and results in a edema. Third vital organ that I will be discussing is the liver. So in the liver failure also there is a edema or a fluid accumulation in the body, which accumulates first in the abdomen and followed by the extremities, that is the limbs. The other causes can be hypothyroidism. Even a hypothyroidism person can have a edema. If all these causes are excluded, there is some entity called as a idiopathic edema, where there is no actual cause of the swelling which can be found. Especially it is found in the females of a middle age, and it is a periodically changing swelling over the feet. The last is drug-induced edema. Drug induces, there are multiple drugs. Drugs means medicine, I will say in other words, which can cause edema. So which are these drugs? So especially the most important is which are prescribed over the counters, which are given over the as over the counter medicines, are painkillers. In our language we call it as a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAID. You can have it in different names like ibuprofen, brufen, diclofenac, voveron, combiflam. There are multiple. So these are the drugs which can cause swelling or edema. Other drugs like even steroid uses, if it is not used wisely, it can also lead to edema. There are some antihypertensive medicine. Antihypertensive means which are given for a BP control, like a amlodipine. This can also cause edema or swelling. Even there are some other anti-diabetic drugs like a pioglitazone, which can also cause edema or swelling in the body. So these are the various causes. So now we come to the types of edema. So as per the site where the fluid gets accumulated, it is divided into basically three types. So peripheral edema, where the swelling is in the limbs, means your upper or lower extremity, hands and feet. Second is pulmonary edema. Pulmonary edema is nothing but water stagnating in the lungs. So it is the severe most form where the peripheral edema is not controlled timely. It ultimately leads to a pulmonary edema. And third is a cerebral edema, that is swelling on the brain. So this swelling on the brain we will keep aside, but we will be discussing more about the systemic edema, the other two, that is the pulmonary and a peripheral edema today. So the other classification of edema can be asymmetric and symmetric. Now what is asymmetric? Asymmetric means involving a specific or a single limb, means swelling in a one hand, one leg, like that. So it is an asymmetrical kind of edema. So what are the causes of asymmetrical edema? So asymmetrical edema can be because of trauma to the limbs. It can be because of infection, especially in a diabetic population, what we call as a cellulitis. So it can lead to a asymmetrical edema. Then other causes like a deep vein thrombosis. In simple words, a clot which is formed in a deep vein of a limb, like in hand or in a feet. So it can lead to a asymmetrical edema. So symmetrical versus asymmetrical edema. So the other is a symmetrical edema. Symmetrical means it involves the whole body, both sides. So we will be discussing more about this. Why? So symmetrical edema is the most important that we should be discussing today, because symmetrical edema can have the underlying important or crucial or a vital organ involvement. Just as we discussed previously, this swelling can be because of three crucial organ involvement, like kidneys, heart or liver. So edema is not actually causing the trouble, still it can be a signature or a mark of some vital organ damage happening in your body. So that's why you should be showing this to a physician or a nephrologist as early as possible to get it evaluated, to know about the organ involved, and should be tackled at that moment only to prevent the further organ damage. As simple as that. So after discussing about the causes, type and how important it is to know about the edema and to tackle it and to take a medical opinion as early as possible, we will move on to the next thing, that is how to differentiate clinically amongst these edemas. Now I have discussed there are n number of causes which can cause edema. So now we will discuss how we have to differentiate by simple things ki this edema could be because of heart, because of kidney, because of liver. So we start with the kidney because it is the most common cause of edema or swelling. So when we come to kidney, so swelling first of all appears beyond your eyes, what we call in our language as a periorbital edema, and then it starts in the feet and it encroaches upwards to thighs and ultimately the pulmonary edema. Pulmonary edema is nothing but water stagnating in lungs. It is the most dreadful situation where patient has to be admitted and he has to be treated in an ICU setting with oxygen and all these things on. So it is the last stage, I will say, of a edema. So kidney, how to know that kidney is at stake when you have a swelling? So as I said, periorbital first, then the limbs, and you may have certain other clinical symptoms along with this swelling, like if there is kidney failure, if creatinine has risen significantly, so there will be other signs and symptoms shown by body, just like what we call in our language as a uremia. It is a technical term. Uremia means if creatinine and all these toxins built up significantly in the body, then the patient may develop some symptoms like cachexia, loss of appetite, loss of weight, all these symptoms, persistent nausea, vomiting, pruritus. Pruritus means itching, generalized itching all over the body. So if this is associated with swelling, then probably the kidney can be at a fault. So this is a renal origin of edema. So second, heart. So heart with edema, there can be some signs and symptoms which can guide us that heart can be at a stake. So which are the signs and symptoms? Orthopnea. Orthopnea is nothing but patient is not able to lie flat. If he lies flat, then he gets more breathlessness. That's why most of these patients prefer sitting and sleeping in sitting position only, on a chair or something like that. So it signifies some amount of cardiac involvement is there. Then along with that, any history of previous heart attacks, any previous bypasses, previous stentings, what we call as a angiographies, angioplasties, if there is history of these things, then your edema or your swelling can be because of a heart origin, because of reduced heart pumping or reduced heart function, in other words. The third type is a liver origin. So in a liver origin, there may be history of a liver failure in the past. The patient may be having jaundice or a icterus, what we call as a yellowish discoloration of eyes. So that may be present along with the, and this edema, the liver associated edema or swelling specifically happens first in a abdomen, what we call in our terms as a ascites. So first accumulation of fluid in liver cases will be abdomen, and then limbs, and then gradually it goes everywhere, just like in any other condition. So this is liver induced edema. Then fourth is of course hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism is a thyroid endocrine gland which is situated in neck. So if it is secreting less amount of hormone, that can also give rise to edema. It is a generalized edema. It is associated with symptomatology like hypomentation. Hypomentation means slowness in all activities, in doing all the tasks. Excessive cold feeling, like if patient is sitting with his peers or with his relatives in a room, and if everyone else is feeling hot but that patient feels cold, so it may signify that patient is having a hypothyroidism. So hypomentation, excessive feeling of cold, constipation, and along with the swelling all over the body, and may or may not be a swelling in the neck. So that can be a hypothyroidism. The last is a drug induced. So drug induced, here the history is more important rather than the clinical examination. There is a swelling obviously in all types of edema, but here there is a history of repeated painkiller intake or some drugs like a steroid or anything. So if a patient is having a chronic pain, like old aged patient who are having a severe arthritis, knee arthritis, any joint pain, backaches, they usually consume these painkillers, which may cause a edema ultimately. And last is a idiopathic edema. Just as we have discussed, it is especially seen in females. There is no reason found for this. So ultimately, it is. I will categorize this as the edema of least concern. You should not be worried about this kind of edema, as we have ruled out all the important vital organ involvement. So we are not bothered or worried about this kind of edema. So finally, we'll come to the management of edema. Management means treatment. So before going ahead with the treatment, a doctor, a nephrologist or a physician will advise you certain battery of investigation to know what is the organ at stake, just like we have discussed through all our discussion. Like if kidney is at stake, a nephrologist will advise you certain tests. A simple blood test, serum creatinine level, can give you idea of a functionality of your kidneys. Along with that, a urine routine level, a urinary protein excretion ratio, serum albumin level. These are the tests which can guide me to say that this edema is because of kidney or renal origin edema. Second is heart. In case of heart, there are certain tests like a ECG, 2D echo, which can guide me to know that it is a edema because of heart, along with the history obviously and a clinical presentation. Third thing is liver. In this liver function test, what we call as a bilirubin levels, SGOT, SGPT enzymes, this is a simple blood test. So with that and a sonography also helps in a liver kind of edema and a kidney kind of edema also. So and a sonography which is showing a cirrhosis liver or a liver which is not functional. So by doing this battery of tests, it is easy to diagnose the organ which is involved and which is causing this edema. Regarding a hypothyroidism, a simple thyroid function test can detect the cause as a hypothyroidism. And obviously, as we have discussed, the history of any drug intake like painkillers, steroids or anything. So these are the different types of different investigations that are required to be done when we see a patient of edema. Now, whenever we see a patient of edema, so we don't advise all the tests in one single particular patient. It is a clinical judgment of ours. It is experience of ours on basis of which we ask patient to do certain tests only. We don't ask each patient to do a liver function test, a cardiac function test and a kidney function test. So, it is the clinical judgment on the basis of which we ask a particular test to be done. So usually our patients, whenever the patient comes with some swelling, we get to hear from him Few complaints like their previous clothings are getting tighter, their shoes and footwears are getting tighter. So this definitely signifies that there is a swelling or water logging in the body, which is increasing this dimension, foot dimension, waist dimension, and that's why the previous clothings are getting not fitting properly. So ultimately these are the things we listen from the patient. Then accordingly, after examining him, we advise the proper investigation, and then we come to a conclusion that particular organ is causing the edema. So now after all this, obviously the treatment of edema. So treatment of edema is nothing but the most important is restriction of water, that is fluid what we call, and a salt intake, because ultimately, as up till now we know that it is excess of water in the body. It can be any amount of water. Believe me, a kidney patient can have almost 10 liters of water in his body. He may be carrying extra 10 liters of water in the body when we see the patient for the first time in our OPD. So the ultimate aim is to reduce the water inside body. So the first of all important thing is to reduce the salt and water intake. So how much to reduce? So that is a decision of the physician after seeing the patient and taking the clinical judgment that how much edema is there, and then accordingly it has to be adjusted. So this is the one thing. Second thing, we prescribe some drugs which are called as a diuretics. Now what are diuretics? Diuretics is nothing but the medicines which can be given in an oral or tablet form, as well as an injectable form in an emergency or admitted setups. So these are nothing but these are the drugs which makes you urinate more. So after giving these drugs, more of water and sodium is lost through the urine. So ultimately we are reducing the water intake and we are increasing the water output. So ultimately the body total water content reduces and the body gets rid of the edema or the swelling. So which are these diuretics? So there are certain groups or classes of diuretic which we differentiate. I will not go into the details, it is a technicality. So loop diuretics. So loop diuretics, basically it has a furosemide and a torsemide as a group of drugs. Then there are thiazide diuretics. So thiazide diuretics is a chlorthalidone, metolazone. These are the thiazide group of diuretics. Then there are potassium sparing diuretics which we call as a aldactone or something like that. Then there are carbonic anhydrogenated like acetazolamide or so these are all diuretics. We use it in a particular patient after seeing the complete clinical scenario. We judge the doses, we monitor the results. Means during follow-up for such patient we usually monitor their weight. If they have a weighing machine at home, it is advisable to check their weight daily, because if the patient is having edema, then he should be losing weight on a daily basis. It may be 100 gram, 200 gram, 300 gram, but he should be losing the weight. That is not the weight of a bone or of a muscle, that is a weight of a water that is getting lost. So if he drinks less, he urinates more, there should be a weight loss on a daily basis. And if this is going correctly, then we are on a right track. So on a OPD basis, when we ask patient to come and see us again, so we titrate the doses of diuretics, we reduce or increase whatever as per the clinical scenario, the intake of fluid, and ultimately we can get rid of the edema. But getting rid of the edema is not the permanent solution. As I have spoken multiple times, the organ which is involved has to be treated nicely with the physicians or a nephrologist advice, and then only it can be possible to treat the edema nicely. So coming to the end of our discussion, the salient features or the important points that every person should be knowing is a swelling or edema, usually most neglected symptom. Most of the people, especially the old aged people staying with us, they neglect this swelling as just we were standing for a long time, that's why this swelling has happened or something like that. It is not like that. Most of the times it can be alarm of some vital organ or a crucial organ involvement, like a heart, a kidney or a liver. So in this scenario, earlier the visit to doctor, earlier the diagnosis, earlier the treatment, and you can save the organ for future, and you can avoid the trouble by treating the edema at that point of time, and avoiding the unnecessary admission to hospital, and as well as saving your organ for a long time. So this edema is something which has to be dealt at that point of time only. You cannot buy time in this. So urgent referral to a doctor, a physician, a nephrologist is necessary, and accordingly investigating it is necessary, and then treatment with a regular follow-up with required investigations has to be done to stay healthy and fit. So that's all for the day. Thank you very much.